welcome to episode 3 of Sooner Girl Sports Pod. And this week, there's a poke here. And for those that don't know, it's my husband. He is an OSU grad, and he's not my typical guest for this show, but we're going to have fun today. So
We're going to try.
I just drug him on here. And part of the reason why I wanted to bring him on this week is because he finally turns 40 this week. And if you know anything about anything, you know about 12 or 13 years ago, Mike Gundy had a quote, "I'm a man, I'm 40. I've been waiting for this day ever since." And I felt like there was not a better way to commemorate him finally becoming a man and turning 40 than having him on my show. We're just going to talk about our family dynamics and how we met and why he's a poke and why I'm a Sooner and why we're together and how it works. It's interesting. So I got intro music, figured out how to do that. So that's pretty cool, I think. Have to let me know what you think about that. Just trying to learn all the fancy things to be a little more professional. So tell me, I had you fill out a survey to help me on the show that I send to people when I interview them, and he didn't really cooperate very well. But so he's just going to do what I say anyway. So tell me, what's it like being married to me as an OU fan?
It's fun, difficult sometimes. She is definitely more mouthy than me. So we get along well because during Bedlam games or sports in general, I get riled up, but not maybe a tenth of the way that she does. So it's fun on that end. She can dish it out. It's tough for her to take it, so I am very good at keeping my mouth shut. And so
it wouldn't work if you had the same like passion, outward passion that I have. I don't think it would work very well.
If I was as obnoxious as she was.
I'm not obnoxious. That's ridiculous. Okay. So if you know me or know us, you know like our dynamic, and I appear to be the more outgoing one of the two, but that's not really necessarily true. It's just sports is my thing. Sports is my passion. So I do get very passionate, and I don't deal well with people who don't agree with me on sports. So if he were like me, we wouldn't work at all. So there is one thing. I asked him, "How did you become a Sooner fan?" And he said, "I'm a Cowboy." Well, duh. Okay, so why are you a Cowboys fan? Like, where did this come from?
My whole family does not really know any of their identities, pretty much. And so my mom's from Alabama. My dad was from Oklahoma and Texas both. Other than him watching the Dallas Cowboys, we didn't do a ton of college sports. And so FCA game days, honestly, is what got me into college sports. And then we would go to Norman and we would go to Stillwater. And I just loved the vibe of Stillwater. Stillwater is small. It's easygoing. It's not hustle and bustle. It's just kind of like the small town I'm used to growing up in. And so I had a friend that played football there that kind of got me even a little more intrigued by it. And so, I think I was probably middle school.
I totally get why you vibe with Stillwater, because you would totally live in the country if I would let you. And I can't have that. I like to be in a town, like a neighborhood, and close to convenience. So I can see why Stillwater would be your vibe more so. But you do love Norman.
But Stillwater's still close enough to cities and those things,
well,
too.
It's still kind of out in the boonies.
And Norman's a beautiful place. I mean, college football in general.
Even if you lived in Norman, you would want to live outside of the city limits, probably. So what's your favorite memory of, I don't know if it would necessarily be Stillwater or in Norman, like a Bedlam memory that you have from a Bedlam game that you've attended?
So I think the very first Bedlam was really fun. Our first Bedlam, by the way. We weren't married yet or anything, and so we were just friends. And
it's kind of like our first date.
Yeah. And so it was really cool just because I could see her passion for OU football. I could tell that she was trying to hold back a little bit on things because she didn't want to scare me off, maybe, I guess. And so that's really fun because we have a photo of us.
I'm going to put that up on the
front
video
of the clock
and
tower,
social media. Yeah. At the stadium.
At the stadium. There's a clock on the stadium, not the tower. But so that's really fun. And of course, on her form, she talks to people about OU and she says, "Oh, here's all this stuff." And of course, I was being obnoxious, and so the last thing was, "What's your favorite OU memory?" And I said, "You're not allowed to talk about any Bedlams unless it's the last one." So the last Bedlam might be nice because I have season tickets to Stillwater, so I got to go and be there at the last one. So, but those are really, that very first Bedlam was kind of my most favorite.
So that was in 2006. Our very first Bedlam. And we had half and half shirts made, and we still have them. We wore them every year for Bedlam football. Only football, that's the only sport. And we wore them every year up through last year. And I had a really good record in that shirt. I believe my record was 19-4. 3? 4?
4.
4, yeah, in that shirt. And so I didn't mind wearing the shirt. I mean, of course, the last Bedlam, I would prefer that it have ended differently, but that's neither here nor there. But we still have those shirts, and they're very special to us. And so that first Bedlam game we went to in 2006 was technically kind of like our first date. Like, we were friends, and we had been hanging out, and I just bought 2 tickets to the Bedlam game in Norman that year, and then I was like, "Hey, you want to go with me?" And then I had these shirts made, and now here we are, 19 years later. So you said I'm not allowed to talk about Bedlam unless it was this past Bedlam, but how about you tell the story of, okay, so I'm very superstitious. I'm actually going to do an episode on superstitions because it's like a big part of who I am, especially with football and softball. But there was one particular year in Norman, I believe it was 2014, if I remember correctly. We sat in the upper deck. Our season tickets were there for a few years before we moved to the southwest corner. So I believe it was 2014, a Bedlam. Okay, I left my seat, which never happens.
Ever.
Okay, so tell that story.
So I can't remember, like, did we go into overtime? I want to say
no, I don't think so.
I guess it was
I
just
would not have. I would have peed my pants before I left my seat during overtime.
I guess it was just the fact that
we were up.
Y'all were up, and
I was about to wet myself.
And so she went down, and we scored a touchdown and won.
I don't know why I left my seat, because I don't leave my seat. I get to the stadium at a certain time. I do certain things. I sit there. I do not go to the bathroom. I'm very picky about my superstitions. And for some reason, I left my seat. I will never forget it. I came out of the bathroom and I heard this roar,
But it was a lower roar.
Yeah. I heard a roar of the crowd and I was like, oh, crap. Like, that's not good, I don't think. And I'll never forget coming out of the tunnel, and I turned around to look up at him to come back up to the seat and see what was going on. And he's just standing there like this, like just...
I think I did do this when I first saw you.
He probably did. And again, I was just like, I knew better than to leave my seat. I don't leave my seat.
She was not a happy camper on the drive home.
No, I was pissed. I'm not...
Because most of the OU fans had, like, it was empty.
Some people had left, yeah.
Up there in the upper deck, which is crazy.
I don't know why people leave games
like,
early
I was
anyway.
in all of my glory all there, because even after that happened, the people that were behind us, that were giving me a hard time, the people beside me that were giving me a hard time, they bolted and passed her as she was coming in. But
I don't understand people that leave games early. I mean, I get that there's emergencies sometimes, but in general, like, if you're going to a game, like, you've invested your time and your money and all the things to get there, where are you going? Like, I sat through a 49-0 beat down in Texas a couple years ago. Okay, like, I've sat through a lot of crap, okay? And that was probably one of the biggest piles of crap I've sat through. But I don't leave early. I will never understand people that leave early. So, anywho, I usually don't even leave my seat. So, why I left my seat that day is beyond me. But, okay, so I have to tell my Bedlam story. Do you want to tell my Bedlam story about why I don't go back to Stillwater?
no, I mean, you lived it. I was...
Okay, well, that's true. You weren't even... Okay, so... This would have been like 2001 or 2. I can't remember exactly what year it was. But I went to Stillwater with a friend.
I was still in high school.
Well, that didn't need to be pointed out. But, okay, he was still in high school and I was in college, okay? Like, yeah. So, I go to Stillwater with a friend. Bedlam was Thanksgiving weekend. That's how it was for years and years. That's how it should have still been. But anyway, and I don't know why, we sat in the student section with some friends of my friend Casey that I was with. And these guys started freaking like picking on me. And I think they were a little,
Inebriated.
and yes, but they started picking on me and running their mouth and saying stuff. And we were getting beat. And it's funny, I'm telling this story and I talk about how I don't leave games early when I'm telling a story of a game that I left early. But anyway, so they start like picking on me and trying to argue with me. Well, I just kept getting mouthy back with them and they were up in my face, and then I would shut them up and then they would just start right back up, and it was some back and forth. But they were not kind. It was very... It was not good. It was not a good experience.
Well, and part of it is that they thought, oh, we're these two OU girls, so we could pick on them. They don't really know any stats. They don't understand. And I'm sorry. We all have the same fans that are obnoxious and on both sides, so we all know that we have those. And so they were being that way, but then they didn't realize that they had met someone...
They couldn't take it.
...that actually knows everything more. And unfortunately, we're loyal and true for a reason. There's a reason for that, unfortunately.
It's a good thing you are. You wouldn't still be around.
And so, for her, she knows those stats, and so she can go back and really put them in their place, and they didn't like it.
Well, I was pointing out to him that, okay, when was the last time you won a Bedlam game? When was this? And, oh, you're talking about this quarterback, or whatever. And they just didn't like that I was... trying to...
You knew what you're talking about.
Yeah, I knew what I was talking about, and they didn't like it. Anywho, we were getting beat, which honestly, that didn't have anything to do with the fact that I left early. That's really neither here nor there. I just learned that day, and then I was quickly reminded a couple of years later when I went to the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans, which was basically a home game for LSU. I just learned that there's some places I don't need to go. I don't do well with their fan bases, and I just don't need to go there. And Stillwater's one of those places. And so I left Stillwater that day, and I said I was never going back to that town.
She actually called her daddy.
And I meant it in that moment, and I did. I did not go back there for about 10 years. Pretty close to it. I want to say it was maybe like 2010 or 11 when we went. I told him, I said, I will go with you to anything in Stillwater, but I will not ever go to Bedlam football. And since then, I've been to Bedlam basketball, men's and women's. I've been to Bedlam softball. Baseball, and I'll go to other OSU sporting events with him. And I'm fine with that. But I cannot do Bedlam football. I did not go to the last Bedlam game. And so many people were like, why won't you go? This is the last, Bedlam game until who knows when. And why would you miss that? And I'm just like, trust me. I ain't missing nothing.
We didn't want her there anyway.
No one wants me there. Like, it's not. And we sit by the sweetest people in Stillwater. Like, shout out to Jeremy and Sherry. Because they're just the sweetest people. And it's not them. It's not the people around us at all. It's just, I don't do well in that environment. It's just, no offense, I can hardly stand to go when when they're playing someone else. It's so much orange and it's just so loud. And there's
better than Texas.
All that. I just don't like any of it. I did learn, though, that the best game for me to go to, which unfortunately will never happen again, is Texas. Anytime OSU played Texas, I'm like, I'm there. Let's go. I'm ready to go. Because I can do horns down all day. And so we also have a rule when you come to Norman or meet at Stillwater or whatever, unless we are attending a Bedlam event, we're not allowed to wear the opposite colors. So when I go to Stillwater, I typically dress in all black, or a brown, or a neutral color, typically black, because,
she's in mourning.
I'm in mourning for having to go. But I always have on my OU necklace and my OU ring. I always wear that regardless. And then when he's in Norman, he will typically wear a white or black, occasional red, just like a plain red. Tell the story about the time that I lost a bet and you had to wear the OU shirt.
So
then it bit me in the butt, really, is what happened.
Yes, because it's my fault.
It is.
The Notre Dame game, when they came to Norman.
2012.
She really wanted to go. We did not have a ton of money, and we could not spend the amount of money. And I said, if you can find a ticket for under $150 a piece, then I'll wear an OU shirt and go. Because I didn't think she would, and I think she ended up getting free tickets.
They weren't free, but they were pretty cheap. But that's when he learned not to ever give me a challenge for tickets, because I'm like, sold, I will do this. I will accomplish this. So I did.
So unfortunately, OU lost, and it was my fault. So she was not happy because it was because I was there, and actually, crazy enough, her dad's OU shirt that she still has.
Tainted
But
the shirt.
yeah, it wasn't the horrible gameplay.
Game day was there in Norman, and I can't remember. It had been a while since game day had been in Norman before that game, and I was so excited to go. It was cold. I remember. I just thought this is so exciting, and I kicked myself for not going to South Bend when we played Notre Dame there. So I have a short list of regrets, and that's one of them for sure. So I try not to add to that list anymore now that I'm able to do that. But yeah, I was so excited for that game, and I need to find that picture and put it up of you in the OU shirt. He tainted it, but he made a bet and he lost. He paid the price, and then I paid the ultimate price. But really, that's neither here nor there. So okay, I want you to tell. I'm very superstitious. You know, we've talked about how I don't go to the bathroom. So there was one particular game that sticks out that we watched here at the house with my superstition. And it still pains me to this day to talk about it. It's Baker's Rose Bowl game. So we had some friends over. And I don't like to watch the game with people. It's just not good. If I'm not there in person, I like to be home. I don't do watch parties. I don't invite people over. I don't want them inviting me over. It's just best not. So what happened that day?
Well, our friends Keith and Lindsay. So Keith needed to adjust his seat and decided to sit in the floor, and you started doing better, so he ended up staying in the floor the rest of the night.
You have to stay.
For some reason, someone opened the windows before they got there. Our friends got there, and so there's also like a routine of, okay, when it gets dark or these happen, you need to go do all this stuff. So I was just doing as I was supposed to be doing.
But you shut the blinds.
So I shut the blinds,
of the game.
and that's the reason why OU lost.
And that was it was Baker's Rose Bowl game. It went to overtime. Like that was our year. I just knew it still hurts me to this day to think about it because that pained me. We had national championship tickets. We did not go to the Rose Bowl that year because we had tickets to go to Atlanta because I just knew that we were going. And then Eric shut the blinds. We didn't get to go.
Yeah.
So,
you guys will be intrigued with the Superstition podcast coming up.
Yeah, I'm going to do a whole show, I think. I'm going to ask people to tell me their superstitions. So here's another one of my superstitions. Which maybe I should save this for later. But
Save it.
Okay.
Save it.
I have a lot, okay?
Don't scare them away yet.
Okay, that's true. So, are there any other Bedlam memories that stick out to you? Or all the times I've drugged you to Norman, is there anything that sticks out to you in your mind?
And what's cool is that I just love college sports, honestly. So it's just fun to go and attend those and really, it's fun. It's a good atmosphere. College football is just like nothing other. I mean, college baseball, I feel like, is like nothing other. Softball, definitely, for both of our teams, really. I mean, and so I think it's just fun to go up. And it is nice that we're an hour away. I mean,
yeah, Stillwater's
a little
long
further.
Drive.
But we also got some good cheese fries and coffee up there. So
Eskimo Joe's cheese fries. People, if y'all have never been to Stillwater, I'm telling you that's the best thing in the whole city is those cheese fries at Eskimo Joe's and also Aspen Coffee. Aspen Coffee is one of my must stop when I go to Stillwater. So we always try to attend Bedlam events. We've never made Bedlam wrestling, and I really hate that we haven't made that one happen, but we've made Bedlam in lots of sports. I really am planning to do Bedlam soccer this coming year. It should be in Norman. It was in Stillwater last year. We didn't get to make it because it was a weekday and hot and crazy, but we just like doing the Bedlam thing because it's kind of our whole identity, which is funny because I was born and raised OU, and then he just chose to be a cowboy, I think maybe just to be different, which is fine. He just wanted to be different than everybody in his family. And if you would have told me in college especially that I would have ended up with a poke, I don't know that I would have believed it. Because I am just so passionate, and I just think that nobody would understand me or be able to put up with me if they weren't like on the same page as me. And for some reason,
it works.
he makes it work. But so we have a Bedlam Christmas tree. I'm going to put a photo up of that too. And so that's kind of how our craziness started, because we were just like, we got to have fun with this if we're going to make it work, because I'm the planner and I'm the like take charge, I guess you could say. And so I didn't want to just always be like, oh, we're going to this OU event or this OU event, and I just drag him all over the place because that's just what he does. And then we would just like randomly attend OSU stuff here and there for him. And I try to be a good wife and like split and, you know, make sure that we're even. And I'm glad that you got your season football tickets now. I mean, it sucks because we have to split up most of the time during football season. Like, he's in Stillwater with someone and I'm in Norman with someone else, and we may not see each other for 2 days. And that, I hate that part, because I do enjoy sharing football Saturdays with you. But, you know, I don't mind missing him, because I'm just thankful he gets to go to Stillwater and live that life and be there for his team the way that I am for mine, and I don't want to rob him of that. So I'm very thankful that we have the means to do that now, and you know, just trying to attend all the Bedlam stuff that we can. And again, our Christmas tree, our Bedlam tree, I didn't really finish that story. So we have a half red, half orange tree. I give him a hard time because I have to get the orange lights at
Not anymore.
Halloween.
Not anymore. People like all the colors at Christmas.
Well, that's
now.
True, but
before, when we first got the tree, I had to buy my lights in October.
So it's all OU ornaments on one side, all OSU on the other. We have a Bedlam tree skirt. We put our Bedlam helmets on the top, clashing. We almost one year, didn't we say that whoever won the previous year, that's whose helmet got to be on the top of the tree? And I think that may have been a year that OSU won, and I was like, no, we're not doing that. Or I think I got lucky because I said, we're not doing that. And then it worked out, and I said, oh, thank God. I can't imagine having an orange helmet on the top of my tree. Well, it's not white. Orange, it's actually white, but still. I couldn't sleep at night knowing that was up there. But anyway. So I'm very thankful that of all of the craziness in life, I ended up with a poke. And if you've known me my whole life, and my family and my dad, you would have never... It's comical, honestly. I mean, and people say, oh, Jerry would roll over in his grave if he knew that Larissa was marrying a poke. And honestly, Eric's a lot like my dad. And I think he would have loved you because you're a good person. But he definitely would have gave you a hard time.
Oh, definitely. And
he wouldn't wear orange for you either, that's for sure. It was really hard for me even just to like purchase. You probably weren't like this. Like you could probably buy OU stuff and not care.
Well, because I have to buy a lot of it.
Well, he used to get a kick out of it back in the days that you wrote checks for things. He would write OSU checks and mail them to the University of Oklahoma.
Instead of using the credit card and missing out on points because I wanted to send an OSU check to pay for her tickets.
He really thought that was comical. But like, I had a hard time even buying orange stuff. Like, it wasn't in my... Like, I just couldn't do it.
At least it's not burnt.
Amen to that. I could not be sitting here with... I hate Austin. Okay, well, I don't hate the city. It's a nice city, I'm sure. I've never been to the campus or whatever. I have no intention of going there. That is a fan base. No, I can barely tolerate them in Dallas, but there's no way in heck I'm ever going to Austin. So if football ever starts trading home and home with Texas, which I don't foresee that happening, I'm out. Not going. So, of all the oranges, I'm not sure that I would say OSU orange would be my favorite.
Better than Tennessee. It's kind of puny.
Well, but Tennessee as a whole, well, I don't know. I heard Rocky Top way too many times this past fall, so let's just not go there. I don't like orange, okay? I generally don't like orange. I don't even really like OSU orange. It's Halloween. I feel like it's Halloween. But that's fine.
But you love Halloween. We have the kids over. We dress up the dog.
But I don't. That doesn't have anything to do with orange.
It's with the colors. She loves the color.
Well, I have since gotten over my aversion to purchasing OSU items, because that's pretty much all I get you now, because I don't know what else to get you. Get you OSU emblazoned everything, because, you know, it is what it is. But anyway, so yeah, we have a good time with our Bedlam stuff.
Yep.
I can't believe I'm married to a poke. I also can't believe I'm talking to him on this podcast.
I can't either.
But I felt like it was only right to have him on here because, well, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't even have this podcast in the first place.
Probably.
And he is a big supporter of mine. And he's even a big supporter of OU when they're not playing OSU. So he has a degree from OSU. and he's working on a second, and he really wanted to get the second degree from OU so he could have a degree from both because he thought that would be cool. I mean, you did.
I still might get a master's from OU.
No, anyway. So that didn't work out just cost-wise. It wasn't a wise decision to make. And I'm kind of sad because if you would have had a degree from both, that would have been super cool. I do not want a degree from both. Mainly because I don't want anything from OSU, nor do I want another degree. I don't want to go back to school. I don't even use the one I have. But anyway, do you have any closing thoughts that you would like to share?
Nope, I'm just excited for my wife with this podcast. This is something that she should have done years ago. Next week's guest will be much better than me. And so...
really his fault we're sitting here, if we're being honest.
It is, but I really think that this is a passion. This is something I want to see her do. I think she should be on the radio. I think she needs to be broadcasting in softball and football because those are her passions. Guys are gonna see that here soon. If you haven't already seen how crazy she is, you're really gonna see it as softball starts, and then when football gets back going again, she just loves it. And so I'm just really excited for this to grow and see what happens, and maybe I can retire from the bank.
Oh my gosh, I don't think so. But thank you. Yeah, so I was actually talking to him earlier with some friends about I feel like I've kind of struggled in my first couple episodes to portray my true passion for things. So if you don't know me in real life, you may not know the depth of my passion. But I've really been struggling with just getting used to the podcast itself and all the logistical things of it. When you see a recording light on you and you're like, oh crap, I'm being recorded. It's kind of intimidating. Were you intimidated at all?
No,
of
not
course,
really.
Of course you weren't.
I do a lot of WebExes, though.
That's true, you do. But I really hope, I'm trying to work to get over that because I do want my passion to be seen. Everyone needs to see how crazy I am. Maybe that's what I need to do is get stories like audio recordings from different friends telling stories of how crazy I am.
That'd be a cool episode.
I got a list of people for that one. So anyway, that was your closing thought.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. I can't believe there was a poke on this show that will never happen again.
Don't say never.
Well, I can't imagine there being another poke on this show. And I also don't even know, would I have like an opposing fan base guest?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't intend to, but I guess we'll see what happens. So thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
So many thanks to my husband for joining us today for my special little Bedlam episode. And I wish that there had been a Bedlam game week that we could have celebrated with that podcast instead. But since there wasn't, I thought there was no better time than his 40th birthday and his Mike Gundy birthday. I will have to post some photos from his Mike Gundy birthday that's coming up this week because I have really had a heyday with it. But he's had it coming for quite some time. So I'm, first of all, excited he's finally turning 40. And second of all, I am excited to get to just live out this envisionment of a birthday party for him that I've had for 12 or 13 years now. So before we close out today, I just wanted to go over a couple of things that I'm excited for with Sooner Nation. And so this week, I am actually going to go to a softball luncheon. It's in Oklahoma City on Wednesday. There's some players, some coaches. My friend Chris Plank will be there. I'm not sure what all it will entail and what all to expect, but I'm just going by myself. So I will be happy to report back next week and tell how that goes. I had a couple of friends the other day, and I know Eric mentioned this about just like letting my passion shine on the show and wanting everybody to see how crazy passionate I am for OU sports. I've had a couple of girls listening the last few weeks, and they have told me that they are glad to be listening to me because they're hoping to pick up some pointers and things to repeat back to their husbands so that they know what their husbands are talking about with different things with sports, or maybe even just know how to respond to them or converse with their husbands. And I'm just going to say, I'm happy to help with that. So girls, if you want to know more about sports, I'm working on creating a safe space for girls to come and share just your questions, your thoughts, your memories and photos and things like that. But even for people that have questions and they don't really know who to ask, or they don't want to be embarrassed and ask it, let's have a safe space for girls to come and ask all the questions. If you don't understand sports, I would love to help try to explain it to you. I don't know that I'm necessarily a good teacher, but I'm really excited about that opportunity to help girls relate a little more to their dads or their husbands or whoever. And I am looking forward to the community that I'm working on building. It's called the Locker Room, and I'm working on creating a huddle in the locker room, and that will be that safe space for girls. We'll have a private chat, a monthly Zoom meeting. I'm going to do some giveaways, some merch discounts, some meetups before some sporting events and things like that. So I'm very excited for that coming soon. So stay tuned on that. Also, I did post a link for my merch that was released last week. I posted that on all of my social media, and it is on my link tree and the link in my bio and all of my social media. So if you're interested in purchasing any shirts or hoodies or stickers, you can find those there. I also have hats that are coming soon, and so I will post when those are available. And I just want to remind you again, please like and follow and subscribe and share with your friends on all social media and on the podcasting apps. Leave a review on Facebook and on Apple and Spotify. Those really help me know like who's listening and where, and gives me any feedback. And the more reviews I have, the more it makes it easier for my podcast to be found. So I appreciate you helping me with that. So I did want to do some Sooner headlines for the week before we wrap up. I mean, my favorite sports, like Eric said, I have a lot of passion for football and softball. And so I really think that when softball season picks up, that's when you're going to start to see my passion come out. And especially football, again, you're going to start to see that passion come out of me during those two sports. And I'm very excited for those. But also, I love Sooner sports just in general. If OU plays it, I follow it. I may not understand it as much. I may not be as passionate about it as I am, football and softball, but I love watching OU compete. I love watching our athletes and being a part of that, and whether it's in person or online, or if I'm just following on social media, I love keeping up with that. And so I'm thankful that social media allows us the chance to do that, because I'm not able to attend as much as I would prefer to, but that's just life. But I am thankful for the means to access that information pretty easily. Let's just talk a minute about football. I don't have a lot to say right now on football other than I'm excited about watching the NFL championship games today to see who's punching their ticket to the Super Bowl. We got Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, and then we got Tress Way and the Commanders, and we've got all of our Creed Humphrey, all the crew on the Chiefs that are playing today. So I am about to go watch those games here shortly, and I'm very excited to watch those. On the OU front, we're still sitting here waiting for our DC announcement. We have no idea what's going on with that. And here we are at the end of January, and that's a little nerve-wracking, I think, for me anyway. We were thinking that we knew who that name was going to be and that it was going to come out, within 48 hours or so after the national championship. It did not. So I don't know if that's completely off the table or not. I don't know if that's still an option or what's going on, or maybe it's going to be an internal promotion or some sort of announcement that we're waiting on from football on what's going to happen with the DC. We just don't know. And I think it's more like a waiting game, and it's not fun right now as we're waiting to see the direction of the program, because I do think that whatever the announcement is going to make a huge impact the program and the recruiting and the portal and things. And so we're all anxiously awaiting that. So how about those men's basketball team last night in Arkansas getting that win on the road? Holy smokes. I got to give a shout out to my little buddy, Dayton Forsyth. I'm really good friends with his aunt, and poor kid got his forehead split open early in the game, and he unfortunately never got to come back out, but he got glued up and he's good to go. Hopefully he'll be ready to get back out on the court soon, because we sure did miss him last night. I am very thankful that our guys stepped up and got the job done on the road at Arkansas last night. That was a very much needed win. Our women's gymnastics got a great road win at Alabama on Friday night, and they are at home this coming Friday night. So if you're in the area, you should definitely get out and check them out. Our men's gymnastics is undefeated at home. They had a great win on Saturday night. They took home 5 individual event titles. Next Sunday they're on the road, but they will be back home again February the 8th. I'm actually going to be at that meet, and I'm looking forward to seeing them in person this season, so that will be fun. Our baseball single game tickets went on sale this past week, and I spoke with my ticket guy on the phone. He was telling me about some of the stadium upgrades that they were doing for seating and such out in the berm, and I'm excited for some of the upgrades that they've made. Baseball is a great spring sport, and they're working to make the upgrades needed at the stadium, and there's a great team put together this season, and I'm looking forward to getting out and watching them. I'm ready for the warmer weather. I'm ready for those spring diamond sports to get started, and we are merely 3 weeks away from it, and I am super excited about it. Soccer released their spring schedule this past week. They've got a couple of home games if you're interested in making it out to any of those. And our wrestling guys have their senior night at McCaslin this coming Friday night. And so to end my episode this week with the Sooner Fun Fact of the week, can you name the OU softball player who at the 2023 Women's College World Series broke OU legend Jocelyn Allo's record for career Women's College World Series RBIs when she drove in her 29th career run in Game 1 of the championship series? It was Tiare Jennings. I'm loving these softball facts. It's really getting me fired up for softball. And like I said, I'm going to have a whole episode on superstitions, and I've got quite a few that even include softball. So with softball season coming up, I think this is going to be a great topic of discussion, is to talk about those superstitions and how we think that we affect the outcome of the game. So thanks again for joining me this week on Sooner Girl Sports Pod. I appreciate each one of you for listening and joining in, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode and interview with my husband, and I hope you're looking forward to next week's episode. I have a very special guest. Stay tuned on social media for the announcement on who that is. So until then, have a great week, everybody, and I'll see you back next week on Wednesday where we talk sports.